So before we start solving things with logarithms, we actually have to learn a few rules, a few tricks with logarithms. They're called the log rules. So, they're not too bad. Number one, if you have the logarithm of a plus the logarithm of b, it's the same as if you did the log of a times b together. So that's one thing that we should get used to. So here are some examples, like log of 2 plus the log of 5 is actually the log of 10. Or, oppositely, the log of 6 is the same as the log of 2 plus the log of 3. You could also do this with variables, like x squared plus the log of y. Well, we combine that to be the logarithm of x squared times y. So, the very opposite thing happens when you subtract. Log of a minus the log of b, if you combine them into one, would be the log of a over b. Okay, and so you might encounter problems like log of x cubed minus the log of x. Now, when you combine them, it would be the log of x cubed over x. But we know that we could simplify that. It would be the log of x squared. Okay? And so, that was log rule number 1. Let's look at log rule number 2. If you have the logarithm of x to some power, it's the same as p times the log of x. And so the way I think about it, like x to the 5th power, I think this 5 can be dropped outside, so it would be 5 log of x. So I'm going to change my pen here. I'm just going to prove this to you here. You don't have to reproduce this, but I want to show you where this comes from. If I have log of x cubed, I could write that as log of x times x times x, which really is a log of x plus log of x plus log of x. So I'm using that first rule backwards. And if you look at this, I really have 3 log of x's. So that's why you can just drop that 3 out there. Now, some examples of this, some things you'll see. You will see something like log of x to the 5th, y to the 2nd power. So when you are simplifying or expanding, first you would break them apart like this. So we haven't done rule 2 yet, we're just doing rule number 1 by breaking them apart. And then we could take the 5 out and the 2 out in front of each of their different logs. So this would be 5 log of x plus 2 log of y. Now, if you're going this way here, this is called expanding. Now, if you were to go the other way, that would be simplifying or condensing them into one logarithm. Alright, so number 3, there's some mini rules here. They're just quick rules that sometimes you will see. Like the log base a of a to the x. What actually ends up happening is this just turns out to be x. And similarly, there's another rule, a to the power of log base a of x equals x. So you might see something like log base 2 of 2 to the 5th power. That's just going to turn out to be 5. And if you did here, 2 to the log base 2 of 5, that's going to be 5. So sometimes they come up, and you should be aware about those two ones. One last thing is that you have to be careful about square roots. For example, the logarithm of the square root of x can actually be simplified to look like, well, first write it like this: x to the 1/2 power. That's a trick that you'll want to hang on to. That 1/2 power is square root. Now that 1/2 though can be written out front. So a lot of people will write 1/2 log of x instead of log of square root of x. And some even go further and they write log of x all over 2. And so you'll see that on the assignment. You'll see like log of x over 2, and you'll see log of square root of x. Just know that those are related. So, for example here, let's take the square root of xy all over z and expand that. So first, because this is a fraction, I could write it like this: minus log of z. And then I'm going to split this, because I could break this apart. It would be log square root of x plus log square root of y minus log of z. And now, thinking of this as x to the 1/2, I could finally write 1/2 log of x plus 1/2 log of y minus log of z.